This is Brother Peter Diamond, vaticancatholic.com. In the description of this video, there's a link to the press conference of Sheriff Joe Arpaio concerning the findings of his cold case posse following their investigation of Obama's birth certificate and related documents. It's extremely interesting and powerful, and I think that even when you're talking about a non-religious issue, the truth has a power, especially when it uncovers a lie that's so widespread and so big. In this press conference, they go through some of the evidence demonstrating that the birth certificate is an absolute forgery. They also cover the fake selective service card. They've even pinpointed exactly when it was forged and how it was forged, because they point out that Obama's selective service card was supposedly issued in 1980. The problem, however, is that his card only has 2 digits. It only has 8 and 0. And they went back and they discovered that the official stamps that were used to authenticate the year all had 4 digits. So his card is the only one that has 2 digits. Why is that? Well, it's because it's forged. And they've actually proven that it was forged in the year 2008 by taking a 2008 pica stamp, cutting the numbers in half, and then inverting the 0 and the 8 to make it look like 80 or 80. And that's why his selective service card only has 2 digits, while the legitimate ones have 4. They've even shown that since it was forged by using a 2008 stamp cut in half and then inverted, there is an anomaly with the distance between the 0 and the innermost circle of the stamp. The distance is off. So it's just absolute proof. It's fascinating information. They also did something that's quite interesting. They were trying to determine whether Obama was actually born in the United States, and they attacked the issue from a different angle. They realized that around the time of his birth, all flights from overseas into Hawaii were either Pan Am or TWA. What they did is they went back and looked for passenger manifests for flights coming into Hawaii around the time of his birth. But they realized that, unfortunately, those passenger manifests no longer exist. So they contacted the National Archives, and they were told that there are microfilm copies of INS records concerning every individual who came into the country from overseas during that period. They requested and obtained viewable microfilm copies of those records for approximately a 10-year period. Dr. Jerome Corsi was looking through the microfilm records for the period around Obama's birth. And when he got to August 1st, 1961, the month in which Obama was born, from August 1st, 1961 to August 7th, 1961, those records were for some reason missing from the microfilm. As a result, the team contacted the people at the National Archives and asked them why the records from August 1st, 1961 to August 7th, 1961 were not on the microfilm. To date, they have received no explanation. This shows you how deep this cover-up is, and you can't get almost any fair media coverage on this issue. That shows you that we don't have a free press in this country. It's also noteworthy that even though the mainstream news outlets really didn't report on this event, they did have reporters and correspondents in attendance at the press conference. And they sat through and listened to the presentation of this devastating and irrefutable information. But when it was over and they asked their questions, almost none of them were interested at all in the evidence. They were only interested in impugning the motives of the people who presented this information. They thirst for the lie. This is another example of how almost all people are liars and why people go to hell. Either because they don't want to displease their bosses, they want to advance their careers, they're going to suppress the truth, distort the facts, attack the people presenting the evidence, rather than honestly presenting the findings, which as newsmen is what they're supposed to do. It's totally disgraceful and outrageous. When these people appear before the judgment seat of Christ and are condemned to hell, they will know that they lied, that they suppressed the truth just to please people, just to advance their careers, and there will, of course, be no excuse for them. In essence, it will be a self-conviction. This is another example of how if you had more honesty and more courage, how much of a difference would be made in the country, in the culture. When people resist the pressure from others to lie, to fudge the facts, and suppress the truth, a huge difference can be made. This agency in Arizona was the only one in the country so far that has had the courage to even assess this issue officially. Imagine the impact it would have if 10 or 20 other agencies possessed similar courage on this matter. The problem in our day is that there are very few people willing to stand for the truth. And just because people stand for the truth on this matter doesn't mean they stand for the truth on the most important matters, the matters of the faith. But the reporters' questions and their reaction to this information is another prime example of why our Lord Jesus Christ called Satan the prince of this world in John 12:31. And when you think about the creator of the world saying that the devil is the prince of this world, that shows you how much sway and influence the devil has over the children of unbelief, as we read in Ephesians 2:2. That's why, as we see in this country today, lies flourish and the truth is considered unacceptable, unreportable. So, for those who are interested in this issue, the press conference is definitely worth watching. You will find a link to it in the description of this video.